Good night, everyone doing tonight. God is good and God is good all the time. My name is Amy Jazz Freeze Divine. Here give you some news and a word on tonight. First we're gonna talk about I've been talking about this for the last 2 days. Um the city of Nashville Governor Council on Monday afternoon voted for anomalous to return the expel the black lawmaker Justin Jones, you know, to the Tennessee State Legislature, and Justin Jones and Justin Patterson, they both was expelled, from protesting, leading to demanding gun control. They wanted an assault weapon ban. All this was dealing with gun control because of the massive shooting in the elementary school. So after yet another massive shooting, at the elementary school, so Jones stated, to the people of Tennessee that I stand with you, that we will continue to be your voice here. He said he's gonna continue to be their voice, and no attempt, to silence us will stop us. Because he said no one gonna silence them. They're gonna be their voice for the community. They're gonna be their voice for anyone need them to be their voice. But it will only strengthen our movement, and will continue to show up in the people House of Representatives. So good. They returned Justin Jones, um, land maker. He been reinstated. Jones. But Justin Patterson, could be reappearing on Wednesday at the meeting. So he will be back. Most likely he'll be back on Wednesday. When they have their meeting. They both have said they plan to run for the special election. So now these two here were expelled. Because they were standing up for what they feel is right. So many the kids kept on getting killed. So they wanted to ban, the assault weapon. They want to ban the assault weapon, and they, fighting for the gun control. Because we can take these weapons, and I've been fighting on that for the longest, but I don't do the policy. So policy take time for them to put together. So they're fighting, protesting for what is right. We all, you know, it's heartbreaking for all these kids to keep getting killed like that. And the more we can tighten up these policies, the more we can constantly, slowly but surely take these guns off the street and these guns out of certain people's hands. Because all of a sudden they're just talking in every elementary school. you know. And so we have to do our best to get these guns off the street, get these guns out certain people's hands. I had put many policies out. Do a background check. This policy finally came out. They spoke on it today. We got to do a background check because we seeing these guns is being in the wrong people's hands. Most likely when you purchase a gun, it's supposed to be, your protection, your defender. When you in a situation of someone coming into your house, or trying to rob you or something, but people is using these guns on a personal level, to do horrible, cruel things. So we have to do background check so that we can know who is handling these guns, who these guns in possession of certain people. We need to know because a lot of times they're not in a good state of mind, and when they're not in that state of mind, they always have to get on the level of a child. And that's why they always aim at the children because of their state of mind. So background check is the most important thing that we have to do so we can limit on all this massive shooting. So they were fighting for something that was right. They restated Jones back. You know, they restated Jones back, and both both was expired at that time. But we do have John back. He been reinstated. Harrison, he gonna be soon reappearing back too. And I request that he do be reinstated back. If he ready. You know, um, they do have roots in the House of Representatives. They do have roots. So he willing, to accept their roots, and on his spare time, still fight for what he feel is right. He can be reinstated back on seat also. So the Nashville Council had voted normally, to resign Justin Jones back, to his seat in the Tennessee House of Representatives. And I'm looking forward for Patterson, to be back in seat also. If he ready to accept the rules and the regulation, I request for him to be back in seat also. So that's the news on reinstatement right here. Um, so I also want to talk to you about, WSJ. That's a reporter. He was arrested in Russia. He was out there looking for his friend. He was on a mission, a job mission, but also he was looking for his friends too. So they thought he was spying. That what his charges is for. His name is Evan. I can't pronounce his last name, but he is the first journalist, to be accused of spying by Russia since 1986. So when a reporter was detained on a similar charge, Russia's district court, said say on Thursday that he would be detained until May the 29th. So they're planning on holding him until May the 29th. So Evan was being held at prison, to await trial after being transported from the city, 900 miles away from where he was at. So the reporter job, had everything Evans that was looking for. He was looking for his friends. So now we have someone else arrested in Russia, and I always figure this spying. So WSJ reporter detained, and he was wrongfully detained. So I request that this reporter here, be released. Um, and a lot of time, so y'all reporters, you have to be careful when y'all go to Russia, because once they catch you, they're automatically gonna think you're just spying. So I requested Evan, um, WSJ Evans, this reporter, I request that he be released. He'd be released and come back to the United States. So we talk about reinstatement. They reinstate Johnson on Johns, but the other have not been reinstated yet. And I request that he do be reinstated back into seat, the House of Representatives. So I hope he be back in seat. Looking forward to have both them back in their own seats. So we just talk about this WSJ reporter. Went to Russia and he got sustained there. And they're gonna hold him until May the 29th. So that's a whole nother month from now that he gonna be held up. And I did request for him to be released. So I do have a word for you. Not too long. So it's gonna come from Psalms 27. Psalms 27. But do the commentary. So David wrote these songs. He wrote most of the song. I ain't gonna say all of the song. But David, who wrote this song, Psalms 27, he had many enemies chasing him. He was not only been running from Saul, he was running from other people too. Just because who he was. They know he was a good fighter, and didn't know he was with Saul. So he not just only had Saul after him, he had other people after him too. Say at one time or another, he was no stranger, to danger, but he also knew that God was powerful and knowledgeable enough to toss the plan the other might have to harm him. Because you see, God had a plan for them. Now you remember God anointed him when he was a teenager. And God made a promise to him, okay, you're gonna be the king over Israel. But years and years passed, it have not happened. But he still had faith in God. He still had belief in God, and that's why he wrote this song. He was running to all different cases, but he was still writing. He was still praying, and he was still believing in God. Even he believed that God said he was gonna do what he said he gonna do. He kept on holding on to that. So no matter how people kept on coming against him, you know, he knew that God was gonna intervene anytime. Because he know God had a plan for his life. So enough to talk to the plan. Other might have to harm him, but he knew that God could intervene on his behalf. He knew that God had a plan for him. And he knew that God has his best interest in heart. So in this regular statement of truth, now he put his faith in the hands of God ever since he was a little boy. When he faced that giant, he ain't went out there his own confidence, his own faith. He went out there with God confidence and God faith. He went out there in the name of the Lord. And Saul tried to cover him with all them clothes and giving him all them weapons. He said, I don't need all this here. All I need is my slingshot in the name of the Lord. He went out there in confidence of God. He went out there having faith, believing that God was going to allow him to beat that giant. And when he put his confidence when he put his confidence in God, he went out there and beat that giant, knocked that giant down. Not only knocked him down, took his head off. That's how much confidence he had in God. So he put his faith in his hands of God, that who would be his stronghold. So he put all his faith. He put everything in God. Knowing that God was going to be his stronghold. He still not, he beat that giant down. That's why they kept on going after him years after years, because they heard about how he knocked that and killed that giant. Just because who he was. Even Saul was jealous of him. Saul wanted him under him all the time, but he was also jealous of David. Because David, had God's spirit all over him. And everything David touched, he will win. So this pretty much this thing right here came from Psalms 27 verse 1. It said, the Lord is my light and my salvation. Who shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life, or who shall I be afraid? He had so many people after him. So he wrote this song. He said, all y'all after me, but who shall I be afraid of? Not them. God is the only one he afraid of. Because he see how God took the spirit off of Saul and put it on him. He see what God can do. So when you got faith and you got confidence in God, we should not have fear over no one else. So he wrote these songs. He wrote these songs not out of fear and confidence that he had in God. He said God was his stronghold. So we can learn from David one key of facing our fear. David escaped the pressure of fear and warfare, by retreating into God, wholly present in a tabernacle. So he proclaimed that I will sing and make music to the Lord. And this came from verse 6. So verse 6 said, then my head will be exalted above the enemy, who surround me at his tabernacle. I will sacrifice it with shout of joy. I will sing and make music to the Lord. So that's what 6 said. He wrote this scripture out of 6, and he said, my head will be exalted above the enemies who surround me. So all the enemies kept on being surround David. And so he said he gonna exalt his head above his enemies. So he wrote this song. He said, above his enemy who was surrounding him. They kept being surrounded him. He kept on running. He wasn't just running from some. He was running for so many people that was after him because he was so good. He was so good. What he do, everything he do, cause just like God told, I'm putting my spirit in you, so everything you touch, you're gonna prosper. Everything you touch, you're gonna win. And that's how David was. That's why Saul was jealous of him. That's why everybody else kept on running behind him, and that's why when he was running them caves, he was writing. He was writing, and he was still praising God while he was running. So praise and worship can help to take our mind off our fear and placing our thought on powerful God. And that's what I have to do all the time. I'm not perfect in my stone. When I realize, tears coming out of my eyes, and I'm fussing about this and that, and upset about this and that, I do calm myself down, and I grab that Bible, and I said, a lot of time I can be in the middle in the kitchen doing something. When I realize the thoughts that's coming in my mind, I stop what I'm doing, and I go pray to God. Because God is the only one can answer you and calm you down and everything else. And see, David kept on praying. Kept on praying and praising God. And that's why he said, praise God. That's why I listen to my gospel all the time. No matter what, I'm singing. And it's all about the words. You sing, you sing the words. You're praising God. They got a lot of gospel made good songs about God. So you gotta praise God. I listen to them songs. I listen to my song 24 hours a day, and it helped. It helped. That's why he said praise. He said praise and worship can help to take our mind off of fear and placing our thoughts in powerful God. And it do. That's why I'm always constantly putting my music out. And singing on words. I don't have a gift for singing, but I be trying to sing, and keep my mind off a whole lot of stuff for that little while. He said this. He said, praise God. It will take your mind off of a lot of stuff that you thinking about. The last time, I had to shift my thinking, because I had to keep my energy and everything up. And so you have to put, and you got to put your thoughts. If you slipping and getting to negative thoughts and doubt, you got to shift it. I had to constantly shift mine all day long. So David also remind us in Psalms 27, to wait for the Lord. And that's what I do. Sometimes I get impatient, and stuff, but I still wait. I still wait. You're gonna get laughed at and everything else because you waiting. You having a strong faith. You believing what God said. That's what David said. David been anointed, said he was a boy. He kept on holding on. He kept on praising God. He kept on right because he believed that God said you're gonna be a leader. He hold on to those words, and that's what he's saying in his songs. He said, David also said, wait on the Lord. And that's the main key, because see, God will make you wait. Because see, he rescued the Israelite after 430 years. They had to wait. And you have to wait, because see, God do things on his own divine time, and it might seem a long time for us, but see, when God step in, you still be right on time. You still be right on time. When David finally got anointed, it still was a celebration. He was celebration, and he was dancing. David danced. David write songs and everything else. So David was out there celebrating. And when his wife was up there in that window, just mad and booted up, like, what you happy for? It been a long time, and you just a king. Why are you happy? It's a celebration. It's a celebration no matter how long it been. David had still was dancing, celebrate, because he had waited. He said, wait on the Lord. And when it's a man king. He said, when you wait on the Lord, it was God would still make it happen. You know, because God told him he was like 16, 17 years old. God, he was anointed. And God said, you're going to be king over the Israelites. And David waited. David wait on the Lord. He kept on praying. He was writing these songs. He was running from Saul. He was running from his enemies. You know, so when you keep on waiting on God, you know, and you still praising God when you haven't not got what God say he gonna do, you know, you're gonna be laughed at. You know, they're gonna constantly run after you. You know, because they're gonna keep on saying, why you still waiting? You're not a king yet. Why are you still waiting? God not gonna do nothing for you. You just crazy. Keep on waiting. And David was not crazy. You know, David said, wait on the Lord. And he was a king. He was a king. You know, because he wait on God. And when you waiting on God, you still got to pray. David was still praying. And this what David say. Still praise him. Even when you don't have it. You know, a lot of time I'm taking a bath, I'm singing. Because I have the music in the bathroom everywhere I go. You know, I'm singing. You know, I can have tears in my eyes. You know, things don't be going right. But sometimes I still start singing. You know, I don't know how to sing. But in my mind it sounds so good. You know, David's son. David said, wait on the Lord. And David said, be strong while you're waiting on the Lord. You know, I had to take my own notes. That's why I listen to my own video. You know, and you have to wait on the Lord and you got to be strong. You know, I'm a strong woman and I have a strong faith. You know, I've been in this battle a long time. You know, a long time like David was. I think it was like 20 some years. David was still waiting on God. And he was being strong while he was waiting. You know, so and he took heart and he wait on the Lord, and that come from 14. You know, wait for the Lord and be strong and take heart and wait for the Lord. Now see, David did a lot of waiting. Irma done a lot of waiting. So we able to tell somebody, you know, God is faithful to his word, what he said. You know, and we see that. You know, David waited 20 some years. You know, that's why he said, wait on the Lord. And in the time that you waiting on the Lord, be strong. Be strong. Praise God. Pray. You know, you're going to be laughed at. You're going to be mocked at. You know, you're going to be run behind like David was. You're going to be all that. You know, but it all going to come at the end when God is faithful to his word. You know, God was faithful to his word to David. You know, David was so excited to David had give a festival out there. You know, he was dancing, celebrating, and everything. It was a long coming. It was all worth it. You know, because he had to fight his way through those 20 some years. You know, he had to fight those 20 some years while he was waiting on the Lord. It's not easy. The Israelites were being oppressed for 430 years. So it's not easy. You know, God escaped them from that slavery. But it wasn't easy while they was in that slavery. It wasn't easy why David kept on running and why he was waiting on the Lord. It wasn't easy. But Irma had to keep on waiting on the Lord. But when you wait on the Lord, your dream, your vision, the words that God spoke will come to pass. And we see it happen with David. We see it happen with Joseph. We see it happen with the Israelite. You know, Joseph was in that pit. Joseph was in jail for 20 some years. You know, and then God had saved him. Joseph was waiting on the Lord. And God had saved him. You know, he was still in prison when God put that dream in Pharaoh. He put that dream in Pharaoh. And he put that dream for to get that job, that promotion to Joseph that no one else, you know, can't do it but Joseph. Joseph had the qualification, you know, but God gave him the knowledge to do that position. You know, God didn't want nobody else to do it but Joseph. You know, and when Pharaoh kept on looking around, okay, God gave me this big old promotion to get to somebody, but you know, and you know Joseph in jail, you know, so he looking around, who could do this here? They said, well, we got that dream interpreter in prison. Bring him out to interpret your dream. And then turn around, get him that promotion. So Joseph came out to interpret his dream and got the promotion at the same time and never stepped foot back in prison. That was God doing. That's just like David. David been running from Saul. He been running from people. And he kept on waiting on the Lord. For 20 some years. He was waiting on the Lord. He was being strong. He was dancing. He was singing. He was praising God in the midst of his waiting. We got to praise God. We got to keep on praying. You feel like you forgot, you can pray. I pray sometime when I'm walking, trying to get to the bus stop. I pray sometime when you in the car, wherever you at. And you forget to pray at home, you can pray while you walking. You can pray while you driving. But in the mix of us waiting on the Lord, we got to keep on praising. You got to keep on praying. Keep on praying. So he said, wait on the Lord. He said, though God answer may not come, when or how we expect it, and it don't. God don't move when we say move. We see that with the Israelites. God moved when he said he ready to move. So he said God may not answer when or how we expect it. But we can trust that he is more faithful than our parents or anybody else. Cause when everybody turn their back on you, it might seem like we can't hear from God and he got quiet on us, but he always right there. He always right there. He was still watching over David. They could have killed David. But God was right there protecting him. God had a plan on David's life, so he wasn't going to let them kill David. While David was running from here to there, God was still watching over David. He was still protecting him. Because see, when we don't hear from God and God is quiet, he's still there. He was still there when Job was going through all that pain and suffering. When he felt like, Job had enough, that's when he interfered. When he felt like David had enough, it was time, God interfered. He interfered. That's like he told Saul. Saul wanted to go to a witch, because Samuel was gone. He needed somebody to talk to. So he gonna try to bring the dead back to talk. So Samuel like, why you disturbing me? He dead. He like, why are you disturbing me? You calling me. What do you want? Okay, God not answering me. So I used to talk to you about my problem. I got to go fight these people. I don't know what to do. He said he normally used to have God's spirit on him. And God used to guide him. Who to fight this or who to fight this. Don't fight this or go. He don't have no guidance no more. Samuel gone. The spirit gone. And God not answer him. So he gonna bring up the dead. And Samuel said, you disturbing me. How you dead and you saying somebody disturbing you? What you busy in heaven? He said you disturb me. So he telling Samuel what he want. So Samuel had telling him, don't you worry, because soon as he said tomorrow, you gonna be with me tomorrow. Now Samuel was dead. And so that was God. Put that spirit on Samuel to tell him, it was time for Saul, for David to step in. And so then just like Samuel told him, the next day him and his son was gone and David stepped in position. Just like God put that vision, in Pharaoh to give Joseph that position. And Joseph stepped in that position. When he stepped out of prison to interpret that dream and stepping into his promotion, he never stepped foot back in that prison. That was God fulfilling his word, his promise to Joseph. His promise went to pass with David. David was a leader up until his death. So God fulfilled all these promises, and he fulfilled the promise with the Israelites. They went into their promised land, but they didn't keep it. They let other people take it. God get in the promised land and they couldn't even keep their own promised land. But God's word came to pass. Even though they couldn't keep it, but God led them to that promised land, and it was up to them to keep on fighting to keep it. They're supposed to get everybody out their lane, but they didn't. You know, so uh, God God would answer us in His own time. So we can trust that He is more faithful than any one of our parents. So even if our boss fired us and our best friend, turn it back on us, a retirement drain out, your savings drain out, God will surround us with His love. He will surround us with His love. Even though the Israelites kept on messing up, God kept on loving them. He kept on providing for them. He fed them. He gave them water when they was thirsty. Their shoes and clothes didn't wear out. He's showing His love to the Israelites. He's showing His love to David, to Joe, to Joseph. He showed that love. He's a compassionate God. In spite of anything that can happen, God will be there for us. And that's what David saying. You know, don't matter what David went through, God was there for him. He was running from cage to cage. They could have killed him, but he was being protected. He was under God's shield. God had a plan for his life. So God protect him. Just like God protect Jesus. They want to take Jesus out early, and God was like, oh no, it's not his time. God protect him until he complete his mission. God protect David until his mission was complete. God protect Job and give him everything that the devil took from him. God protect Joseph. Even though he was in prison, God still was protecting him. Make sure nobody else hurt him. Until his mission was complete and he lived a long and prosperous life. When we do the will of God, you'll live a long, prosperous life. You remember Jonah. Jonah didn't want to fulfill his purpose. God told him to go preach to those people. He's selfish. He didn't want to preach to the people. He didn't want them to get saved. When you is God prophet, no matter what you don't want, you got that gift to preach to people, to save people. And he didn't want to save nobody, so he was gone. But David, Joseph, and the rest of them, they lived over 100-some years. They live over 100-some years. So God will surround us with His love. In spite of anything that can happen, God will be there for us. Intimate, we who on earth, intimate, we who trust in Him will find safety for our soul. And just like David, he was running, he was running, but he had found safety in his soul, from God. He wrote this song, and this is how he felt when he kept on running. And see, he was running from Saul. When he was running from Saul, he wasn't afraid of Saul. Because he could have tore Saul off with his bare hands. He got on top of that giant. He took that giant head off with his bare hands, and he was a little boy. So imagine what he could have did to Saul. He was a righteous man. So he respected Saul. So he was running from Saul to keep from killing Saul. He could have killed Saul with his hands. So he ran from Saul to keep from hurting them because he loved the Saul and respects Saul as a mentor because he was under Saul for a long time. So God will be there for us, and who we trust to find safety in our soul. And since that is the case, who on earth should we fear? See, that's what David was saying. David wrote this, just how he felt. He said all the people that was after him, on earth. So he was like, who should I fear? When he found his safety, a soul of God. He found his safety, his shield. Was under God. So all the people that constantly was after him, he did not fear them. He ran from them because he could have killed them. He could have hurt them. David was David was a fighter. He was a warrior when he was a little boy. Remember, he always was in the field. When they came to anoint him, he wasn't even at home. He was all out in the field, just tearing up animals with his hand as a boy. So he wrote this here. He wrote this song because he that's how he felt at that moment. He said, "Wait on the Lord." He said, "Who on earth should he fear?" When he got the mighty God. God saved him that whole time. God watched over him that whole time. He said, "Wait on the Lord." He said, "Wait on the Lord." And we see that waiting on the Lord. It was well waited. Even though he waited 20 some years, even his wife was mad and booted up all in the window. She wasn't even outside celebrating with him. She in the window just booted up. Just like, why he out there dancing? Why he out there celebrating? You been like waiting for 20 some years. It doesn't matter. They were telling us, to wait on the Lord. Wait on the Lord. It will be well worth it. Even though he had to wait 20 some years, God said you're gonna be a king. He was a king. God had put that vision in Joseph when he was a little boy, 17 years old. Give him a dream that you're gonna get a promotion. You're gonna be a leader. You're gonna be this and be that. And then sometimes we don't see it at that moment when God said all these things you're gonna do. Because he told Joseph, he was 17 years old, put that dream in him that you're gonna be a leader. You're gonna be a king. But then at the time he didn't say, I'm in a pit. You saying I'm gonna be leading all this, I got dropped over in the pit. You say I'm gonna be a leader in the kid, I'm sitting in the jail. It's 20 some years. I'm gonna be what? I'm in jail. I was in a pit. But then it was all worth it. Because see, sometimes you God will allow you to go through so much before He give you what you gotta go through. Just like He did with the Israelites. They wandered in that land for 40 some years before they got their promised land. They was in jail for 20 some years. David had waited 20 some years. Joseph was in the jail 20 some years. Thrown in a pit. So a lot of time we go through that hard rocky time. That hard rocky time we go through. We go through that hard rocky time before we get to the promised land. God gonna promise you this and He gonna promise you that, but it's not gonna be easy for you to get to it. Joseph, and then at the time you going through all that hard time, all that struggling and hard time, pain and suffering, and you can't see it. But sometimes we have to start seeing the unseen. We got to start seeing the unseen because all we see is that pain and that suffering, all the struggling that we're going through. David kept on running from people. People kept on wanting to take him out, and Joseph thrown in a pit. The wife lied on him, had him in jail. All this stuff be going on with us until sometimes, if we lose our vision. We can't see what God said He got for us. I said you're going to be a leader. I said you're going to get to that promised land. You're going to do this here. And the Israelite kept on saying, I see it way back there, but when we going to get to the promised land? Sometimes we get anxious. I'm talking about myself. I'm not perfect in my stone. Sometimes we get anxious. Sometimes we like, man, all this time is passing. You said we're going to be this and be that. When are we going to get to it? But just like David, when he wrote this song, he said, wait. Wait. Because a lot of times God will make you wait. And that's why David said, wait on the Lord. And you'll receive what God said He got for you. And he wrote this song because it happened to him. He didn't look like he was gonna be anything. So many years passing, he's still running from here and there. He don't see it, but he kept on waiting on the Lord. He kept on praying. He kept on praising God. He said he was praising God. He was praying to God. He was waiting on God. Even when it don't look like, God got it for you. You got to wait. You know, God will make you wait. In a lot of time. You know, you gotta go through you gotta climb all these mountains and stuff. Before you get to what God gonna give you. He ain't gonna, just like he told the Israelite, okay, I'm giving you this land, but I need you to go in there and fight for it. I need you to fight. I need you to get all them people out that land. You know? And just like David, you know, David had to keep on fighting while he still running from Saul and running from other enemies. God said, I need you to go take care of this here. And these enemies right next door. You know, but long as he kept on doing what God wanted him to do, he was staying in alignment with God. And so God kept on protecting him, and God gave him what he promised to give David. And that's why David said it happened to him. He said it can happen to us. And that's why he wrote this. The main key, he said, wait on God. Keep on praying. Keep on praising. Find some songs that you want to sing. Do like me. If you can't sing, just try to sing anyway. Because inside of your mind or whatever, it's going to sound good to you, especially you sing in the bathroom. Praising. When I sing them songs and I'm hearing them songs, it do help. It do help. And most of these songs is about God. And it will help you. A lot of time I just be walking down the street or walking in my house singing some of the songs that's be in my mind. So that's all the word. That's everything I have for you today. We talk about David. David said, wait on the Lord. From Psalm 27. And not only wait on the Lord, he said, be strong. Have a strong faith and be strong. You got to be strong while you wait. Because the devil gonna keep on coming after. The devil gonna keep on fighting that full blast. They kept on coming after David. Saul kept on coming after David. His other enemies kept on coming after him. And he had to keep on being strong. And not just being strong for himself, be strong in the Lord. That's what he said. Be strong in the Lord. I know we get mad from waiting, but we can't get disconnected with God. You got to still be connected with God. You can't get disconnected, because when you get disconnected, he going to leave you like he left the Israelite many a time. So he still was connected with God. Even though it didn't look like, even though it don't look like, what God said he going to do. I'm in that song. Still in that song. Being strong in the Lord. Waiting. Being faithful. It don't look like it. God said you're going to do this. God going to make a promise to you. And you don't see it. You don't see it. But you have to visualize that you see it. David kept on holding on. He kept on trusting and believing in God. And that's what he's telling us to do. Wait. The Israelite had to wait. David had to wait. Joseph had to wait. Joe had to wait. The devil was beating him down so much he had to hold his side. And then when the devil see you still standing and see you still praising God, and see he still see you got energy, you still walk with your head up high, you still praying, you still talking about God, you still holding on to God. You constantly making the devil mad. And the devil going to keep on trying to beat you down. But every time the devil keep on trying to beat you down, you got to keep on being strong in the Lord. You got to be strong in the Lord. Every time they want to constantly keep beating you, because the devil going to come at you at full blast. When you keep on standing and you keep praising God in the mix of your pain and suffering, the devil going to look at you like, what's the matter with you? You got to be mad with God. What's the matter with you? You still praising God, and I'm doing all this to you, and you still standing? You got to keep on standing. You got to keep on praising God in the mix of that suffering. And once you keep on doing that, you constantly making the devil mad. But you got to keep on standing, because God is the only one that can save you. The devil cannot save you. The devil manipulate Eve to eat that fruit. And so when God fussing that heart and talking about you got to get out of here, where the devil was at? The devil can't save you. When the devil manipulates you to do the wickedness, the devil gone. The devil gone. You know, so we talk about this reporter had went to Russia, and he got arrested because they're saying he was spying and everything else, you know. And I had requests for them to release him and allow him to go back to the United States, you know. And we also talk about reinstatement. You know, the two black guys had got removed, but one of the guys, Jones, you know, he got reinstated. You know, so we still waiting on the other one. Justin Pearson, we still waiting on him to get reassigned. You know, and I had requests for him to get reassigned. You know, if he still wants to take his seat back. You know, so that's all the word and news I have for you on tonight. Y'all have a blessed and safe night, and I see y'all in another video.